How's it going, everyone? The stock market is going on a rally. Right now, year to date, we are up by almost 11%. And that's because the light at the end of the tunnel is here. The uncertainty, fear, and doomsday prepping over inflation is almost over. However, when it comes to Apple is seeing a ton of bad news, and their stock isn't pumping like Meta, Google, or Nvidia. In fact, they've been pretty relatively flat for the past few years. Well, despite all of this, I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions as to why I'm still bullish on Apple. And here's the first one. The Department of Justice files antitrust suit against Apple. Alright, so the Department of Justice has sued Apple because they say the iPhone ecosystem is a monopoly that is unfair to consumers and to other businesses and brands. They are angry at the operational moat that Apple has built, including the blue versus green text bubble, the FaceTime calling feature, Apple Watch not working on Android devices, and the list goes on and on. So here's my take on this lawsuit. First, I don't think Apple is going to lose because their arguments are kind of silly. If you have a Nintendo Switch, you're going to be playing the games on a Nintendo joystick controller and buy games on the Nintendo platform. That's the nature of creating accessories and features for your ecosystem. I would never expect an Xbox controller to work on my Nintendo Switch. Likewise, if you work in IT or have used a company laptop before, and if it's secured by Cisco, then only Cisco software will work for the network, computer, and data. Like, I wouldn't go to Wendy's and try to order a Big Mac. Does that make sense? It does not work like that. And by the way, if you're into fast food like I am, please download the mobile apps. I am telling you, you can find coupons and deals like buy one burger, get one for free for McDonald's, Wendy's, you name it. Plus, if you look at the US smartphone market share, 61% of people use an iPhone. They can absolutely use a Google Pixel or a Samsung Galaxy. There is freedom of choice to use other devices and the accessories in the Android ecosystem. But with that said, I get where they are coming from, but I don't see Apple losing this one. Not in the US at least. If anything, this article itself and the lawsuit is the bull case for Apple. It shows just how dominant Apple is in American lives and how the competition pales in comparison. At most, Apple is probably going to pay a small fee in repentance and forgiveness. And speaking of which, can you believe that it's almost Easter? Why is this year going so fast? Anyways, let's look at the next headwind. Apple fined $2 billion as Europe sides with Spotify. Not too long ago, Apple got in trouble with the EU because they were team Spotify on how Apple conducts their App Store business model. Essentially, when you download an app such as Spotify from the Apple Store and pay for a monthly subscription for Spotify, then Apple gets a cut of that revenue from Spotify. So Spotify gave people the option of downloading Spotify directly from their website in order to pay zero fees for both Spotify and the consumer, and to get the subscription plan at a cheaper price. Apple's argument is that they helped propel Spotify to become what they are today. And if they don't receive compensation for advertising Spotify on the App Store, then Apple is helping Spotify for free. Honestly, I'm on Team Spotify on this one. And actually, I'm thankful to the EU because prior to the iPhone 15, you had to use a lightning cable to charge an iPhone, whereas almost every other electronic device in the world uses USB-C. The lightning cable made no sense because it won't plug into my Apple Beats headphones, and that's a part of their ecosystem, and same with my MacBook. You cannot plug in the lightning cable. And I'll tell you what, I'm not an app developer, but did you know all in-app purchases on an Apple device will pay a 30% fee to Apple? So say you buy something in your mobile game for like $10, then $7 goes to the app developers and $3 will go to Apple. I think that's a crazy cut. Not even Visa or MasterCard charges fees that ridiculous. Then again, I see Apple's side of the argument. People are using Spotify on an Apple device. It's real estate they do not want in their iPhone, but it's still a part of the economy. So as such, Apple is it's charging them a fee. Like in a perfect world, Apple would rather consumers pay and use Apple Music. But Spotify is the most popular music streaming service in the world for a reason. And funny enough, I'm an old fart that still uses Pandora and YouTube to listen to music. So I think Apple's strategy here is if we can't beat them, then let's allow them to conquer this business segment, but let's charge them a fee to be the best in class. Now remember, Warren Buffett talks about investing in companies that are in the business of charging a toll booth to cross the bridge. Apple is an example of a toll booth company. So even when you want to hate Apple as an investor, you just can't. To me, their business model makes good investing sense. Something else that makes sense, I started stretching every single day. And I don't mean getting butt naked and doing hot yoga and humming some chants, but just working on my mobility, right? Like for my ankles, my hamstrings, my quads, my hip flexors. And let me tell you, flexibility is one of those things we just disregard as men. But my body feels fantastic these days because I'm actively working on this. And dare I even say, I feel more handsome and taller. Alrighty, can't be only bad news surrounding Apple these days because Apple and Google teaming up with Gemini. So we all know Google is kind of like Amazon in that they have a portfolio of 100 or so different projects happening right now. And a lot of them are stealth projects, meaning we don't know what it is. The point is, if even one of those 100 projects strikes it big, then for Google, it was worth the cash, human capital, and investment. So both Google and Amazon are continuously innovating and throwing ideas onto a dartboard. So kudos to them for executing and actually testing out ideas, because at other major companies, that does not happen. But because they greenlight all of these projects, it comes at the expense of burning cash and not paying a dividend. All that to say, Google is one of the kings in AI technology, and Gemini is an AI feature that can generate text, audio, image, and video in a user-friendly way. So think about it as Siri on steroids. An example is creating a picture from just talking into your iPhone. So you can say out loud a nice 400-pound sumo wrestler hanging out at the lake and fishing while the sun sets. Gemini would be able to generate a picture based on that description. So when we think about Apple, on the other hand, they're a lot more conservative, right? And they're in the business of increasing their economic moat on pre-existing products and services with an emphasis on their supply chain. And Apple's supply chain is world-class, believe it or not. So when I think about this partnership, Apple being superior in hardware and Google being superior in software, I think this partnership, two best-in-class companies in their industries working together, I think this is another reason as to why I'm bullish on Apple, despite some of the other bad news. Google laid the foundation, paid for the labor and the time to create an AI product, and Apple will benefit from the inventions by working with Google. And let's be honest, Apple's iPhone has essentially been the same for the past few years. For crying out loud, their $800 iPhone still uses a 60 Hz screen, only has 6 gigabytes of RAM. Innovation is what they need to continue being a status symbol for the people. And by the way, I appreciate every single one of you who support the channel, because we are now finally a YouTube partner. And I told myself I was not allowed to get a new phone until this milestone was achieved. And it took a lot of work and time, but it finally happened. And in regards to the new phone, it was a heavy battle between the Pixel Pro and the Apple iPhone. Just guess which one I probably went with. All that to say, I would not have been able to upgrade my phone after using it for 4 years if it wasn't for your continued support. So thank you. My goodness, that sounds like a politician asking for your vote. That's not what I was trying to say. I just wanted to let you know that I appreciate you. So that's my take as to why I'm very bullish on Apple and how I see them trading downwards as a big opportunity. At least for me, that's my interpretation. As Apple trades for around $170 or less, I will be scooping it up as if it's a jug of milk on sale. By the way, why does a jug of milk almost have to be $10? That That's crazy. And as someone who used to be lactose intolerant, I'll tell you what, my friend, dairy is the reason why I cannot become a vegan. I need my cheese, I need my yogurt, and I need my milk. Anyways, what do you think? Are the glory days of Apple over? Is Huawei, Xiaomi, or other phone brands and laptops going to become a status symbol and steal market share from Apple? Is 2024 the year that Apple falls down? Let me know, because this is how I interpret the news, and maybe I'm not thinking clearly, so I would love to hear your voice and your opinion. Anyways, Dividend Compounders with Cheese, signing off. Stay safe, everyone. I love you.